Hi everyone, welcome to Indian as Apple Pie, the cooking show that shows you how to make authentic Indian at home. This is Rajma. It is a Punjabi North Indian dish that we basically eat just about every weekend. It is pure comfort food in a bowl. It's kidney beans, but we add in our magical spice blends and our whole spices to really make this a very special dish. I want to first give it a taste. Oh my God, that just brings back memories of childhood. So delicious, come with me. I'm gonna show you how to make it. Okay, so first we're gonna go ahead and do the tarka. Tarka is the flavor infusion, the flavor bomb that we're gonna add to our very simple, basic cooked kidney beans, Rajma, right? So this tarka is a little bit different. I add a few other sorts of ingredients and spices to make it really special for Rajma. First, we're gonna go ahead and take our ghee, about a tablespoon. I use a little bit more than I normally would because my recipe in Instant Pot Indian in my other books is for 2 cups, where I use a tablespoon, but I want to go ahead and use a little bit more. That's okay. Like, I would have reduced it, but I didn't do that this time. No big deal. We'll put in our asafoetida. That helps just a pinch for digestion. We've got our cumin seeds going in. Remember, these are whole cumin seeds, about a teaspoon, and then half a teaspoon of the turmeric powder. There you go. We've got cinnamon sticks, black cardamom pod, and 2 black cloves. That's gonna go in too. I'm talking fast because we don't want any of this to burn. And we just want it to sizzle about 40 seconds or so. Once we get the sizzle, what happens is all of the essential oils are being pulled out of the spices, and then we can go ahead and put in our whole ingredients, our onion, and then we just wait, we let it cook. So the key for a good tarka is you get a beautiful browning to your onion. That's why in this instance, I didn't have a ton of product. I'm really only cooking enough for 1 cup of kidney beans, so I was able to use my little tiny pot. I like the pot because it has limited surface area, so your ghee or oil does not spread, and it keeps it all really nice and contained, so it really gives it a nice browning to my onion and to my, eventually, the other ingredients, the ginger garlic, and also the chilies. So we'll just go ahead and let that cook. We're gonna wait. Now remember, if you were going to cook this in the Instant Pot, which is the recipe in my cookbook, you're gonna do this pretty much the same way, but it's not going to be necessarily separated from the beans. You're going to basically do the tarka in that same pot, in the Instant Pot or in the pressure cooker, and then you're going to add in the beans, the water, and cook it all together towards the end. But you do the tarka first. This way we've cooked the beans on the side, and we're going to do the tarka separately and then add it in. Remember, no powdered spices thus far except the turmeric. So we're going to go ahead and let that continue, and then we'll add our ginger and our garlic. I just want a heaping tablespoon. So here we go. It's already been ground down ahead of time. I like to do that to save time. And then I'm going to put in my chilies. I like a lot of chilies. You don't have to use as much if you don't want to. Beautifully comes together and cooks down. That is what you want from your tarka. So now I can, if I want, in here, or I could do it in the bigger pot, but I'm gonna go ahead and do it in here. I want to get my spices in there, my powdered spices. So let's get our garam masala, about a teaspoon of garam masala. You can use a little more if you want. Our amchur powder, which is what gives us our unique tartness for Rajma. Our red chili powder, which is our heat. Our salt, I'll just go ahead and add that in there, no biggie. I want to put in my tomato paste, that's a tablespoon. it down a little bit. And at this point, you can add a touch of water, but you know what I like to do? Just get our tomato in, because that just beautifully gets the moisture in there and lets it all sort of pull together. Give it a really nice stir so it all mixes and blends. Remember that tomato paste is in there. You're gonna break that down with the back of your spoon. Oh my goodness, this is looking so good already. I want it to come to a boil and just cook together. All of those spices are working together to release their magic. And this is what I refer to as masala mud or mud masala. I know, it just looks like mud, but it's what infuses your dish with all of the aromatics, the heat, the flavor, all of it. That's the addictive part of Indian food, folks. It really is. All right, so we've let that come to a boil, a simmer. It's kind of all pulled together. So now we're going to put the very bland cooked kidney beans, very bland, there's no flavor in there. We're gonna mix it with the flavor bomb, which is our mud masala, right? And what's interesting too is if you look at this looks like quite a bit. But when we add it to our Rajma, you're gonna see it's in volume probably about half of what the Rajma is. So it is a good amount of masala or flavor that goes into the Rajma. You wanna keep that in mind because, you know, you're wondering where all the flavor is coming. It's coming from this. We're just basically taking this already cooked. We're going to go ahead and put it into our pot of cooking or boiling Rajma or kidney beans. And then we're gonna bring this whole entire thing to a boil. I want it to come to a boil before I start adding any water because I really wanna understand and balance the consistency of how much moisture goes in here. It's going to depend on how thick you want the Rajma. We like Rajma that is not only relatively thick, kind of medium, but also that is broken down. So as I'm cooking it and it's boiling, and I'm gonna let it boil another 20 minutes, I want to keep pressing the back down with the, I want to keep pressing the Rajma, the cooked kidney beans down with the back of my spoon, because that just breaks it down even more. We like that creaminess, we like the thickness. That is the beauty of a really, really good Rajma. So let's go ahead and let it come to a boil. And as it boils, it's splashing a little bit. So it kind of shows you that it's a little thick. So we want to go ahead and put some water in. I've got some boiled water here on the side. It's about 3 cups. So I'm going to just go slow though. And work it about a cup at a time. So the water went in and now we're going to stir it. And as you stir, you see the whole spices like the cloves and the cardamom pod and the cinnamon sticks pop up. And as you continue to boil it, it just continues to release more and more flavor. That's why too, you can leave those whole spices in, throw your dish in the fridge. It'll come out with more flavor the next day. But if you don't want too much more flavor, just pull them out and discard them now. You also don't want someone to chomp into them by accident when they're eating. Oh my God, this looks so delicious already. I'm gonna go ahead and increase the heat so we can get the boil going a little bit faster. And now it's just literally letting it do its thing. We're gonna let it come to a boil. And then I'm gonna put my lid on the pot. After it hits the boil, I'm gonna turn the heat down a little bit, let it simmer, and put the lid on, but slightly ajar so that we continue to release the steam. There we go. So the steam's being released, not completely covered, right? And we're gonna let it just simmer for about 20 minutes, and we're gonna come back and check it out and see what we've got. All right, so Sunday brunch in this Punjabi household is done. Our Rajma is finished. It is so beautiful. Come take a look. The first thing you'll notice is that there's kind of like a film on top of it, which shows me that it is done. The bubbles are not really fast moving and fast popping, right? They're kind of like lazy on the surface, which is what the term is, the non-technical term I've given these bubbles, like lazy bubbles. And it's essentially, as you stir it, just done. And it's very creamy. We're gonna go ahead and break down even more of the kidney beans with the back of a spoon. The reason why I don't use an immersion blender is because I want still a level of texture. You don't want to get rid of that completely. And then let's go ahead and see what that tastes like. So good, so perfect. So remember, this is Rajma. It's a Punjabi red beans, super beautifully spiced, that we eat over rice just about every weekend with a little bit of yogurt. You can make it yourself very successfully, very authentically. Follow my step-by-step instructions, as well as use the spice amounts that I gave you, because it's going to be very crucial to have those certain amounts to play with the bland sort of flavor profile of the kidney beans. You're going to have perfection with this recipe every time. Head to my website for the recipe details, indianasapplepie.com, and I'll see you at the next one.